Okay, this is Thursday, August 29th, and I'm at the flying field at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the morning crew is there flying. The previous day, Wednesday, August 28th, during the training session, got a call from Dan Devins and Bill Rogers that someone had dumped an Apprentice training plane out onto the field, either inside or outside, and they gave me the coordinates, so I showed up looking for it. Now, when I flew out this morning with my drone, I did not record my search for the plane, but after two batteries, which is about 35, 40 minutes, I did find the plane, recorded its GPS location, came back and searched for that GPS location on the log. Dan Debbins said he wanted to come and look for the plane with me, so we sat down after that event and I gave him the GPS location. He put it on his phone and he headed out to look for the plane. And when he started to go out to look for the plane, I decided, I had to record this. So I put another battery in the drone, put it up, and now I'm following Dan as he's out searching for the plane, which if you are standing at the first um, taxiway and you looked around 280 degrees bearing, the plane would be there. Now, in my original search, I looked outside the fence because Bill Rogers was pretty certain the plane landed outside the fence because the night before on Wednesday, the trainer who lost the plane went out looking for it inside and couldn't find it. But after a couple of searches outside, we decided it must be inside. And I did find it inside in all of this dense growth. So, bring you back up here again. I'm out following Dan. He's out here walking with his phone set on Google Maps with the coordinates of the plane, and then he can see where he is on the map. And the trick is to walk towards the plane and find it. So he's going through this dense brush, big trees. We talked about this. We need to cut these trees down. So he's walking out there. Now, what I didn't know was that he was having trouble with this. Apparently he didn't either they recorded right or he couldn't get to read the recording, but he's out searching for the plane in an area where it really isn't. And since I'm not on the log that's recorded from my plane, because I'm actually videoing this right now, I can't look back and search for the coordinates, which are too hard to remember. So I'm trying to follow him here, and I run into the situation here where now that I'm out over his head and he can see me, is he mistakenly thinking that I'm trying to lead him to the plane because he's having trouble finding it using GPS coordinates? Or what? So I don't want to mislead him. So I'm flying over him. Every now and then you'll see him look up. And when he looks up, I kind of laugh inside and think, well, he's looking up figuring I'm leading him to the plane, which am not at this point. I'm just following him because I thought it would be good to record this. But eventually, I'm realizing that he's not going to find it. He's not anywhere near where the plane is. So either it's not reading the GPS coordinates right or it's not functioning on his phone. Any number of errors could have cropped in here. So eventually, I am going to have to um, go look for the plane again myself right now. I get an idea where it is. But then now, since he's using his phone for walking, he's not connected to me for a call, so we can't communicate. So if I find the plane with my drone, how am I going to signal to him that this is where the plane is? Come follow my drone and look there. Well, what I will do when that time comes is when I get my drone over the dropped plane, I will freeze in that XY coordinate right directly over the plane and then move my drone up and down, increase and decrease its altitude, up and down, up and down. And if Dan sees that, he might get the impression that maybe I'm signaling him that this is where the plane is. Walk over here. Because if you look in this video, you will see every now and then he looks up at my drone, trying to figure out what I'm trying to tell him. So now what I'm doing here at this point is I'm looking around figuring I better look for the plane because he's not going to find it where he is. So I start to look again for the plane. I've already found it and I've already written its coordinates down. Right now, I'm angling my camera up and taking a bearing because I'm up about 40, 50 feet, and I want to come down to about 30 feet. But you know, the trees around here are pretty high. They can be up to 30 feet. And I don't want to come down and then run, with my camera pointing down, run into a tree. So every now and then I have to angle the camera up and look to see where I am and what I'm heading into. All right, so now I'm back. I watched Dan. I decided, okay, I'm going to go look for the plane. So now I'm moving along here. I'm up at about 30 feet. There it is, right there. Right straight down there is the plane. Centered. Now, let me center the picture first. Okay, I need to center the picture and get that plane right in the middle. And when I do that, now, as you can see, I'm increasing altitude and decreasing altitude. I'm over the plane, but I'm going up and down, up and down. And I'm figuring Dan's looking up. He sees this. Maybe he'll interpret this as a signal that here's where it is. Come to my drone and you'll find the plane. So I'm still going up and down, as you can see in the video. Up and down, because there's no other way for me to communicate with him. Up and down, up and down. And as you will see, it worked. Here he comes, wandering into the area where this plane is, and lo and behold, the guy finds the plane. Now at this point, I don't know how well the coordinate plan works really well, but that depends upon what kind of phone you've got. We had a little discussion about iPhone versus Android phone, and when I give the coordinates, they're completely digital. But his phone interprets the coordinates as degrees, minutes, and seconds, which is actually a pain in the butt. It's just, I don't know why anybody does it that way. Digital latitude and longitude makes more sense to me than anything else. Digital makes more sense anyhow than all the rest of the stuff that we've got. So now he's found the plane. So now I'm just recording the recovery. He's found it. We don't have to search anymore. But while he's doing that, I'm looking up to see the height of the trees around me. So I want to follow him back, and I wouldn't mind coming down to capture him walking. But because my camera's pointed down, I risk moving laterally and running into a tree. As you can see right here, these trees are kind of high. I don't know exactly how high they are, but there could be a higher branch near me, and I'll run right into it. So I don't want to do that. So I turn around and follow him where I know it's safe. He gets to a point right now where I realize that he's not going to get out of here with this plane like this, so he's going to pull the wing off. So he pops off the rubber bands right here, takes the wing off, so he can put wing and fuselage in line, and making it easier for him to walk through the growth that he's got to get through to get back to the open area field. I'm going to get you, Dan, for littering. He just popped rubber bands off and left them there. Anyhow, so now he's got it in a nice, neat linear package. Finds his way through the bush, which of course you can see is so thick I can't even see him through it. Then he emerges, and there he is, out at the edge of the field, finally. So I decided to come out. This should be pretty easy for me. So I need to take another lateral look to see where I'm at. So I raise my camera so I can see where we are with respect to the whole field, and that gives you an idea watching this video as to where that plane was. And now I'm going to follow him in. I need to mention here right now, this is really important, that Dan volunteered to come this morning. I mean, I volunteered to look for the plane. That's really no big deal on my part. I sit in the chair, I fly my drone, I look down with the camera. I have fun doing it. When I find it, I record the GPS coordinates, send it to the person, and he can go find his own plane. But Dan said he wanted to come out that morning, help me out, and he said he was going to walk out there and go get the plane, even though Bill Rogers and all these guys were right there flying. So that's Dan for you, you know? I mean, he's that kind of guy. He went and got the plane, and he's walking it back, and everybody else is back flying. Now, I don't mean to pull rank, but when I was taking off with the drone, the guys know I'm looking for a plane. So that little drone of mine sits there on the runway ready to take off, and a couple of guys came up to start their planes and says, "Hey, there's a drone right there sitting there, and you're going to take off. Wait till I take off." And then, of course, when I'm about to return, the drone runs. You know, once the battery gets near the end, it's going to return home. And there's guys standing at the #1 taxiway, flying. 2 guys, in fact. And I mentioned them. I'm sitting back at the West End shelter in a chair, flying this, taking these videos. And I holler out to the 2 guys, "Drone's coming home. Beware, it's going to land right there on the taxiway at the safety fence line. And you guys are standing there flying your planes. But, you know, I'm out here looking for planes for you, so give me a break. Help me out here." And they're good, of course. It was uh, Robert and Les, I think was his name, were flying. They're no problem at all. They just moved over and said, "Okay, we're fine." Of course, I came out to watch as the drone came down and landed. That's coming up here, but now I'm just following Dan as he's walking in. I don't know why he walked this long path around to come back. Probably because there was less tangle in the weeds out there are terrible. I mean, they tangle and trip you up, and he didn't want to get tripped up, so he followed around the periphery until he got to an open up enough area where he could walk back without any obstructions. And while this is going on now, my battery is starting to report to me that I'm going to have to come home because there's just enough battery left to bring it back home. So as Dan's walking, he's checking out. It rained severely last night, Wednesday night. All those guys who were at the instruction had to leave in a hurry. That's why I couldn't look for the plane yesterday, because it just poured. And now I've gotten the report from my battery that I have to come home. So at this point, I hit the home button. Now the thing is with my drone, when I hit the home button for it to come home, it automatically goes up to 131 feet, which is taller than any of the trees in the surrounding area. That way, on its way home, it's not going to take a beeline right back to its takeoff point and run into a tree. So it's climbing to 131 feet. You can see the guys are flying. You can see plane there. Dan's coming back to the shelter, and now my drone is on its own, autonomously coming back. I angle the camera down to watch these 2 guys, and I'm sitting in a chair there. You can't see me. But I'm sitting in a chair there, and I'm about ready to tell these 2 guys, "Hey, the drone is coming in. It's going to land right between the 2 of you on that #1 taxiway. Please be aware. I'll come out and watch you. I know you're flying a plane." It's all copacetic. Trying to keep it safe. And now it's coming down on its own. And I'm watching the guys. You're probably not seeing me come out, but I come out. And they stepped aside away from the taxiway because they know where it's coming down. They already observed it land in exactly the same spot that it took off from when I was doing the initial search. So I don't think they're too worried about where the drone's going to come. And here it is. And it parks itself on the runway, raises the camera up so it's not looking down anymore because it doesn't want to scrape against the ground. And ordinarily I'd stop the video at this point, but because the camera's still rolling and I'm right there, I pick up the drone and bring it in past the 2 guys to show Dan already arrived at the table at the shelter with the recovered Apprentice drone, Apprentice plane. And that's it. We're done. Successful mission. And all I got to do now is shut everything down. There's Bill Rogers. And we're done. Thank you very much.